The night shift at Cedar Hill Motel. It was a quiet Friday night in a small town somewhere in Ohio. Daniel had just started his new job as a night receptionist at the Cedar Hill Motel. It wasn't a fancy place, just an old roadside motel where tired travelers stopped for the night. The lobby was silent except for the soft buzzing of a flickering light above the desk. At around 1:40 a.m., a man walked into the motel. He was tall, wearing a dark coat and an old baseball cap pulled low over his face. Daniel forced a polite smile. "Good evening, sir. Need a room?" The man didn't answer right away. He slowly looked around the empty lobby, then placed a $100 bill on the counter. "One room. Just for the night." His voice was calm, almost too calm. Daniel typed into the computer and handed him the key to room 12. The man grabbed the key, but before leaving, he said something strange. "Don't answer the phone tonight, no matter what." Daniel laughed nervously. Sure." The man walked outside and disappeared into the darkness. Hours passed. The clock showed 3:07 a.m. Daniel was scrolling on his phone when suddenly the lobby phone rang. He remembered what the man had said, but curiosity won. He picked up the phone. "Cedar Hill Motel, how can I help you?" For a few seconds, there was only silence. Then a slow whisper came through the line. "Why did you give him the key?" Daniel frowned. "Who is this?" The whisper continued. "Room 12 has been empty for 8 years." A cold chill ran down Daniel's spine. He checked the computer again. Room 12 was indeed not listed as occupied, but he clearly remembered giving the man the key. Trying to calm himself, Daniel stood up and walked outside toward room 12. The motel parking lot was completely empty. No cars, no lights. Room 12 looked dark, abandoned. Daniel slowly unlocked the door. The room was empty. Dust covered the furniture like no one had been there for years. Confused, Daniel walked back to the lobby. As soon as he sat down, the phone rang again. With shaking hands, he answered. "Hello?" This time the voice sounded closer, almost like someone standing behind him. "You weren't supposed to open the room." Daniel slowly turned around, and behind the reception desk, the man in the baseball cap was standing there, smiling. "Now you let me in." The lobby felt colder than before. Daniel stood behind the reception desk, staring at the empty hallway. The man in the baseball cap was gone. For a moment, Daniel wondered if he had imagined everything. Maybe he was just tired. After all, it was the middle of the night, and the motel had been quiet for hours. He sat down slowly and looked at the security monitor. The Cedar Hill Motel had 4 old security cameras. One showed the parking lot, one showed the hallway, one showed the lobby door, and the last one pointed directly at room 12. Daniel leaned closer to the screen. The hallway camera looked normal. The lights flickered softly as they always did. But the camera showing room 12 looked strange. The door was slightly open. Daniel frowned. He clearly remembered closing the door when he left the room. He rewound the footage. The timestamp showed 3:12 a.m. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the door of room 12 slowly creaked open. But no one was there. Daniel leaned closer to the screen. His heart began to beat faster. A few seconds later, the camera glitched. The screen filled with static. And for just one moment, something appeared in the doorway. A tall shadow, wearing a baseball cap. Daniel froze. Because the shadow wasn't coming out of the room. It was slowly moving into the room from the hallway. Daniel couldn't stop thinking about the shadow. He stood up and looked around the empty lobby again. Everything seemed normal, but the silence felt heavier now. He walked over to the old wooden cabinet behind the desk. Inside were dusty papers and old guest records from years ago. Daniel began flipping through them slowly. Most of the pages were faded and yellow. Names of travelers who had stayed at the motel years before. Truck drivers, tourists, families passing through town. Then one name caught his attention. Michael Turner. Next to the name was the room number. Room 12. Daniel checked the date. It was from 8 years ago. His stomach tightened. He kept reading. The note beside the name said something strange. Guest reported hearing knocking sounds from inside the walls. Daniel swallowed. He turned the page. Another note was written by the motel manager. Guest disappeared during the night shift. Room found empty. Daniel slowly leaned back in his chair. At that moment, the lobby phone rang again. The ringing phone echoed through the quiet motel. Daniel stared at it for a few seconds. His hands felt cold. Slowly, he picked up the receiver. Cedar Hill Motel. For a moment, there was only silence. Then a familiar whisper came through the phone. You looked at the records. Daniel's heart stopped. Who is this? He asked quietly. The voice sounded closer now, almost calm. You shouldn't stay there tonight. Daniel glanced toward the hallway. The lights flickered again. Why? He asked. The whisper answered slowly. Because the night shift never ends. Suddenly, knock, knock, knock. Daniel turned toward the lobby door. Someone was knocking from outside. But when he looked through the glass, the parking lot was completely empty. Then the knocking came again. This time, from inside the hallway, right in front of room 12. And the security monitor showed the door slowly opening again.